This is my camera stand. It attaches the camera onto it as so, and it then plugs into my chair. It means I can get on camera and do my thing without having to direct someone else. Just this little device, and we can use it perfectly well. It just means I can get all the shots that I need, and it's convenient and it's easy and it's accessible, which just really helps me. Hello, my name is Alex Baldwin. I'm an aspiring filmmaker studying at the University of Derby. I'm 19 years old and I hope to be a producer. That's a shock answer. So the industry that I want to be a part of is not yet fully accessible to people like me, and so I'm hoping to explore that, raise some awareness and get an idea of the challenges that I may face. In the media industry, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. So I'm going to be talking to some people that I know who are in the media industry, who are also wheelchair users or have a disability, and gain some insights from them as to how they've navigated their careers. I want to figure out how the industry can be more accessible and how, when faced with adversity or intolerance or discrimination, how can I best navigate that situation? I basically just want to prove that even with a disability, even with problems and barriers, I'm still going to be able to navigate a career in the media industry. I find that I like to be creative, but equally my skill set is in logistics and management. So, and of course I want to work in the film industry, so either writer or producer I think are the roles for me. I guess I just love the idea of bringing to life things that people maybe wouldn't think to bring to life. And I think I'm just passionate about working hard. I just found the media industry and the filmmaking industry, and it's something I want to pursue. My disability is obviously a big part of my life, but I try not to let it be the centre of my personality. Sometimes I do talk about it on social media, and I knew that either to raise awareness or I do make jokes. We had a fairly popular video a couple of years ago. It got us 500,000 views, but there were also a lot of comments on it that were quite harmful. See, even when we're not talking about our disability, these are the kind of comments we get. People posting Stephen Hawking, Timmy from South Park, Richard.
Whenever you get like some negative comments or some hate, especially when it's aimed at your disability, it hurts. Like, it really hurts.
Ross Lanning is a radio host and internet blogger and knows plenty of what it's like to face discrimination online. I just want to hear what you thought about these kind of jokes that people make and how they make you feel. Do you ever try and stop them, or
It 100% depends on the context of the message, because I think you can generally tell if someone's being just an outright nasty troll for the sake of it, or you can also tell if someone's made a flippant comment, not realizing that actually that's a little bit insensitive. So there is a big difference between someone making a little comment and then you can comment back and educate them and then actually make them think.
I'm never going to escape that. I'm never going to stop being disabled. And I think the only thing that can change from here is how people treat you on social media.
You will never win that argument. You will never change a person who would write something like that in the first place. So I think it's down to picking your battles wisely, and it's all down to the context of the comment, I think.
You never know how someone's going to take a comment like that, and I think unless you know that person, unless you know me and can come to the conclusion that I'm going to laugh at your joke, there just needs to be a lot more consideration into why people think it's okay to say certain things that really aren't funny.
My whole online brand as such, my whole passion when it comes to what I share online is to be a bit of light-hearted fun, but to also make a point to represent in a positive light, because yeah, there's just so much negativity online on social media regarding disability in general. You know, we're constantly branded as, you know, being negative or lazy, or, you know, just people have this stereotype of us just sat at home rotting away, whereas actually we're out and about, we're contributing to society, we're living fulfilling lives. And yeah, that whole representation is something that I really kind of try and campaign for, to be like, no, look what we can do.
I feel like the reason for a lot of these stereotypes around disability is due to the representation of these people on screen. Now, to solve this issue, I need to talk to someone who knows representation and inclusion inside and out.
Our job was to represent the careers of disabled staff working in the company.
Everyone should be represented on screen and reflected in society. In this interview, Toby mentioned about how most James Bond villains have some form of disfigurement or disability, which makes them feel almost vengeful in a way. And this is a misrepresentation of disabled people. They're either villains, victims, or heroes.
Because that's how disabled people have been stereotypically portrayed. And then that influences our perception of disabled people in society. And that leads to our prejudices and our discrimination and our stereotyping.
How can you figure out a way to make sure everyone's relatively happy with the way they're portrayed on screen?
So I think, first of all, we shouldn't shy away from having characters and protagonists having a disability. There's nothing, there's nothing wrong with a James Bond villain having a disability per se. The key, I think, in terms of day-to-day media is we kept calling it authentic portrayal.
So Toby once represented Liz Carr, who is a disabled actress who's starred in Silent Witness as a lab technician. Now, when she was on this show, none of her storylines were related to her disability in any way, and it made her, as she should be, feel like a normal, functioning person in society. It's not just about, her disability, it's about her competence as a character. And I think that's often misunderstood when characters are just made to be disabled.
A lot of drama storylines where you've got a disabled character, it's almost like the disability is the central part of their character, and it's just not incidental.
While representation helps people to be seen, inclusion helps people to be heard. And both are important. Representation allows people to feel human and normal, while what inclusion does is helps people to enter these human and normal environments without struggle.
We're disabled because of the barriers that are created in society.
The biggest barrier I face is when I go to a place that says it should have accessible facilities, but you get there and they don't. It can ruin plans, whether this be a fun day out or, more importantly, work. It's frustrating when you have to go out of your way to find the right facilities, when, for an able-bodied person, it's just a matter of a few short steps. When you're fighting for accessible facilities, you often get a little bit of guilt, like you're asking for more than you should be, when actually you're asking for exactly what you need to function in society. Obviously, there's only so much that can be done, and I'm grateful for the ways that I am included, but there's still a long way to go to ensure that I can access the same things as everyone else. This is a difficult industry, and I need to know how to manage a full-time disability and a full-time career. So as a disabled person, you find that often you need to have quite a strong work ethic due to the barriers that get in the way of having a highly successful career, and you have to prove yourself. So I'm going to speak to Nikki, who works in the media industry and is disabled, because she gets it, she's been there and done it, and she's got plenty of experience that she can tell me about.
Do you think now, how many more disabled people we see on TV? I still feel there is a long way to go, and actually if you look at the numbers, we still have to do more to get more disabled talented people off screen and on screen.
I think, obviously, able-bodied people can understand what it's like to live with a disability, but, you know, with me, even now, there are things that I need that sometimes I do feel like I have to ask for still. So I think it's impossible to say that someone who is able-bodied will always get it in the same way that a disabled person will, and you need someone who's disabled who can do that role.
I have often been asked, well, you're physically disabled and you're the disability correspondent. How, like, I think there's a slight question about my impartiality. That's the insinuation, yeah. And it's been from other TV wankers. Oh, sorry. I say to them, well, I've got muscular dystrophy. I don't just do stories about muscular dystrophy. I don't just do stories about physical disability. I am a journalist. A story is a story. It has nothing to do with my disability, but what I do have is the unique insight into what it's like being disabled. And a lot of stories, there's that nuance, you know?
I know this is a really backwards question, but it's something that I'm quite opinionated about. Do you feel at times grateful that you've lived the way you have with a disability, because has it taught you things that you're grateful for that you might not have experienced had you not been disabled? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. There are many things I love about being disabled. I mean, sometimes I think I don't know whether I'd change it, you know. I mean, I would like to run. I would like to be able to eat more food. I would like to dance like Beyonce. I would like to wear high heels. I've got a really good bum. I'd like people to see it. You know, there are so many things that I like, and there are things that I would like to do, but I can't. But I'm just, you know, like you said, when you have to plan your life, especially if you need support from PAs or whatever, you know, when you're planning, right, I'm going to go to the bathroom at 2, okay, I'm going to have to, you know, you actually realise, blimey, you're really good at logistics.
Filming TV is a platform for people with all sorts of experiences, and it is vital that these perspectives are shared. Being disabled is obviously hard, but as someone in the industry, it's my job and other people's job to advocate and to educate people. It's important to advocate for the disabled community and make sure that the voices that go unheard can be heard. I think the way we need to move forward with this is you need to see the people who are in the most public eye leading by example. You need to see big companies like the BBC, ITV, and other film companies even leading by example and showing that disabled people can be included, not just on screen, but also actually creating an environment that makes jobs accessible to everyone and not just the people who make them look good. You have to start somewhere, so you have to bring people in, and on and off screen, these disabled people will help to better define the parameters of accessibility, inclusion, and discrimination, and make sure that all these things are accommodated for. It's possible. It's doable. There are these people in high up positions in big companies, and they are able to be included. And so what I've learned is that not that we need to, settle, but we need to speed it up, keep fighting. I hope that when people watch this documentary, they can see it as a benchmark for change and, and what can be done moving forward. I just want to spread the word. I'm not looking for anything out of it myself, other than that one day someone can have had their lives changed because they were included.